What's up, guys? This is In Progress Podcast. We're here talking about more stuff. This is Jake. I'm still Logo, and let's get it done.
Let's get it. It's getting pretty hot.
Especially where we're at.
Yeah, and I feel like it's just going to keep getting hotter.
Yeah.
But, summer is here.
I don't feel like we've even hit like dead summer yet. Like I think we're still getting in. It's already hot. Like I don't want to go outside anymore, but I don't think we've reached our peak yet.
No, because I feel like there's like sometimes, I think maybe it was a couple years ago, the weather was literally like 100 degrees Fahrenheit. I don't know, you Celsius people out there.
We were even having, I can't remember, we were having like 103 degrees weather, and it was, we also had like an 80-90% humidity at the same time.
Oh, dude, that was the worst.
And I don't see, it may not be an 80-90% humidity, but I don't know the humidity gauge. But we have a lot.
Yeah.
I think it's one of the most uncomfortable places to be.
It's not pleasant.
No.
And hopefully it's not as hot this year, but I mean, look at the winters. They've been kind of kind of going down where it'll be freaking hot on Christmas. And I'm like, what's going on here?
I remember as a kid getting a scooter, and I used to ride it was on Christmas. I had gotten an electric scooter, and I used to drive, because we lived in a circle, and I used to drive that electric scooter around on Christmas Day with no shirt on and shorts on, no shoes on. I used to drive it, and it wasn't cold outside. It was hot. I think it was probably like 60, 70, not 60, it's probably like 75 degrees, 80 degrees outside.
See, I feel like there'll be like a scientific way to talk about this, but because like one year at Christmas it's snowing, and then the next year you're outside in shorts and stuff.
There's a book on that, like the Farmer's Almanac, I think that's what it is that book will tell you what the next year's weather will be. And
interesting.
I've never been patient enough to go look at it, or never even tried to look at it, but a lot of old people tell me, because I can remember I was talking to some people who was in my family who was older, and I said, I hope next year it snows. And they were like, well, check the Almanac. What? So I legit went to the Almanac.
What is this Almanac?
And I was like in a random book, and I went to the Almanac, and I was like, this is nothing. Come to find out there's a Farmer's Almanac, and it tells you the weather. I don't know if it works. I may be completely wrong. I never tried it. But I kind of want to see if it will tell me. I'm pretty sure it's not accurate. Can we actually predict the weather a year in advance?
There's no telling. They can't even tell us now. They'll tell us like what, a week before or something.
My job can't even tell me when my next paycheck is. So
yeah,
how they can predict the weather for a year?
Since it's getting hot, and in the summer, people would usually swim. I've been curious. You used to be a lifeguard.
Yeah.
Right.
I actually went swimming today.
Swimming today?
Literally, I just went. We just got back from swimming today at a river.
Must be nice.
We're actually going swimming tomorrow too.
Dang.
Yeah, we're going swimming tomorrow also.
You lifeguarding there too?
No, I'm not a lifeguard no more, thank God. But I used to be a lifeguard.
Well, that's what I'm curious about is like, how was it being a lifeguard? How long did you work as a lifeguard?
Oh gosh, longer. Because most average people lifeguard when they're like 15, 16, something like that. I lifeguarded all the way up to like 19, 20. I started lifeguarding before I was even legally allowed to be a lifeguard. I was like 13 and a half, 14 years old when I started lifeguarding.
Don't tell the name of your employer.
Yeah, I won't. Okay, what's it? Anyway, I started lifeguarding, and I think I lifeguarded all the way from like lifeguarding unlicensed 13 and a half, 14 years old, and then I stopped at like 19, 20 years old. I think it was 19.
Dang, it's almost like a career for you there.
Yeah. I used to teach first aid CPR also, but it was actually a really fun job. It's really hot because
you would think, right?
Yeah, you're sitting up in a raised stand in the beating sun, and you have no protection.
You don't have like an umbrella?
Yeah. When I was 19, I did. But
so
every
you had
year
to
after
suffer.
That, since 13 all the way up to 18,
years of
no
suffering.
umbrella.
Jeez.
So yeah, and it actually has done harm to my body. It actually has caused like tons of sunspots and stuff all over.
Oh dang.
Yeah,
bro.
I've never had these, and I have them all over me.
So that's what happens when you're in the sun too much.
Yeah, and I probably have cancer. So, but
are you going to be Walter White?
Maybe. May sell drugs. Actually, I did in college, but we're not going to talk about that.
Lifeguarding.
Yeah, but I was lifeguarding. It was a good job. I don't think it's a job for
everybody.
15, 16. I don't think it's a job for anybody who's under the age of 18.
Oh.
Because you have to think, if a 45-year-old man jumps in the water and he can't swim, is a 15-year-old going to jump in and save your life?
Okay, if it's a 45-year-old woman, guy, whatever, jumping in the pool, that's their fault.
Yeah. I guess my example would be is, let's say they jump off the diving board and an accident happened and they hit their head on the diving board. And they start drowning. They can't help themselves. They have knocked themselves clean out and they're going to the bottom, which is a regulation 12-foot pool. How is a 15-year-old who's probably 85 pounds and 90 pounds going to jump in and save this man who's probably peaking at 245 pounds, 250 pounds?
Are you the only one there?
So I was mostly the only one there. And we'd take shifts, but most of the time it was just me because I worked my butt off.
So there's no, like, adult, like, looking over...
the adult would come in the mornings to collect the money and leave. And then it'd be kids in charge. I'm gonna be honest, it was kids. Even whenever I'm not trying to say like people who are like 17, 18 and upper kids, but we still have those childish things. Like I want to say like 16, 17 and below to that 15 age is kids because they're not in that adult mindset yet.
For somebody that doesn't know anything about lifeguarding, like what can you say about it that's like interesting, fun, but also informative?
You get to see a lot of naked people. You get to see a lot of boobs because
isn't it like just like most kids there though?
There's a lot of old women who go, and then there's a lot of older like some MILFs who come.
I see.
Whenever I was like 16, 17, that was the coolest thing because I was single and whatever. And
yeah, and you're 16.
Yeah, I was 16. So you'd have like women jump off the diving board and they'd come up and they'd be just completely naked.
Did you have like shades on?
Oh yeah, I would stare. I'd stare. I'd burn holes in them titties. I'd burn holes in them titties.
I like how you had to finish your sentence. So I wonder if they like the MILFs, whatever. I wonder if they would do that on purpose though, because this guy. Oh, they would.
Well, a lot of them would not, but there's multiple times, and this is where it's really sick. You would have like 30-year-old women, late 20s, come up and they're wanting to have sex with you. How
would you know? They would just come up to you.
They'd tell you.
Oh.
Never.
Ma'am, I'm underage.
I've never done that. With that because it's usually raunchy, nasty people. So people who are wanting to be a lifeguard, it's a fun job. You get to have fun. I used to get to work early and swim just for fun. I used to go.
You get free swims.
Yeah, you get to swim a lot. I even had a key when I come in whenever I felt like it.
So you got your own pool almost.
Basically my own pool. Now you do have to clean it. You have to put the chlorine in it, shock it. That sucks. I will say this though. There was 100% chance every day I'd find money. And it may range from 25 cents, 50 cents to $100.
So obviously you would put it in the lost and found, right?
We didn't have a lost and found. I was the lost and found. My wallet was.
Your wallet was.
I guess
to be specific, of course.
Yeah, the correct story that I remember specifically in my head is it was a group. It was a large group. I think it's 45 people per one lifeguard. So once you reach over 45 people, you have to get a second lifeguard to watch because one person can't watch 45 people
Dude,
at one
how
time.
can you get 45 in one pool?
I've had pools where I've had over 4 lifeguards at one time. So that's 45, 45, 45, and 45.
Dude, how big is this pool?
It was a small pool.
What do people do? Just jumping up and down? They can't really swim?
You would have people on top of people and going under the pool. And that's how you would have to watch is people crammed up and there'll be people stuck under the water and they couldn't get up because there's so many people.
It's almost like fish. Like, there's just so many like swarming. That should be like there should be like a safety hazard or something.
Well, that's the thing though. They're making money, so they're not going to call it a safety hazard.
It only costs like what, $2 to get in or something?
Yeah, one pool I did, it was $1 to get in. Another pool I went to, because I worked at many different kinds of pools.
I mean, yeah, if you're working freaking 6 years, lifeguard.
And another one that was like $50 to get in. I did one that was a membership only, where it's like a $200 membership fee, and you pay it yearly or something like that.
Dang. A lot of swimming.
But I had that group of people that came. It was a ton of people, and so at the end of the day, everybody got out because we thought it was thundering, and then it ended quick. So it was kind of close to the end of the day. We're going to go ahead and close up because if anybody came in, they'd be just wasting their money. We didn't want them to do that. So everybody left and left me with the cleaning to do. That's fine. Jumped in the pool, and I was just doing some laps, working out. And then also I was going to clean, get the brush, and while I'm in it, going to scrub it.
Yeah.
And I go to the vent, which our vent was broken kind of like. It's where the water flowed in and cleaned it for the filter. It didn't suck hard enough to get it all through.
Didn't suck hard
enough? Yeah, it didn't suck hard enough. Like most of the high school girls, whenever I was in high school.
When I was in high school,
let's be clear.
I swear it's all legal.
But Whenever I'm just joking, hon. Whenever I was scrubbing it though, it's like this little. It's like a long brush that's on the end of a pool. It was broken, and I went under the water 12 feet deep, and I'd hold my breath and scrub it. Well, I noticed a lot of paper was flying. I'm like, what the heck is this? And I couldn't see that clear because it was such a cloudy pool. So I started grabbing it all and going up, and it was bills, dollar bills. And there weren't just $1 bills. It was like ones, 20s, 5s. It was all these other ones. I'm racking up. Like, I'm going under, and I stayed at work for over 3 hours only picking up bills.
Wait, why would they be in the water?
Because people would have money in their pockets and jump in the water.
That's the dumbest thing.
So, and then if you find a wallet, usually you put it in the lost and found.
That apparently did not exist.
Yeah, it didn't exist. So I had no way. And if you found a wallet and it didn't have a license in it or no registration or nobody to find, what do you do with it?
All right, you just keep it.
Well, I kept a lot. Now, if it was a wallet and I knew there was a lot of money in it, I'd kind of like help it out or leave it there in case somebody came back. But after so many days, it's mine. Well, after cleaning up for 3 hours, I found so much stuff in the bottom of the pool because there was so many people you couldn't see what you dropped.
Yeah.
So I started finding like engagement rings, started finding watches, I started finding bills. I walked out, only bills alone, I walked out with $400.
You never would be like, I should give this to the person because they probably really need it.
I'd hold it in my, now here's my fair thing.
You'll hold it if they ask for it.
Yeah, I would have it in my wallet. So I usually gave it 2 weeks. I'd hold it in my wallet for 2 weeks.
Okay, so you gave them a 2 weeks notice?
Yeah, 2 weeks. So, and I also would be fair. I would write it on a board of this was found this day. And if anybody comes in asking for this, I have it. So I was fair. I also held on to engagement rings. Like I would find them. Now I'd keep those at the pool because money, somebody can just grab me like, I'm gonna spend this right now. Now engagement rings, I'd lock them in like a locker I had or somewhere. And if somebody ever asked, I was responsible for it. And most of the time, women would come and pick them up and they go, hey, I lost my ring. I'm like, there it is, I got it.
They're probably like, oh, thank you so much.
Now as a percentage rate, 60% of the women came to get their rings back. The other percent I kept.
See, I was wondering how you always buying this stuff.
So I'd always
with the lifeguard salary.
So I managed to figure out how to sell engagement rings, which I was a kid, didn't know what I was doing. So I just go to anywhere and put it up for sale. Pawn shops are pretty good, which they know I'm a kid. They're going to cheat me. I mean, shoot, an engagement ring, that may be like an $800, $900 engagement ring. Maybe a $2,000 engagement ring.
They'll cheat you, but you're like, hey, it's still more money than I had.
It's free money.
Yeah.
So I can remember I came in, that same day I found the $400. I had,
we don't condone this, kids.
Don't do this unless you get away with it. So I had like 3 engagement rings. One was a band, one was a ring, and the other one was, I think, a ring. But the ring was missing 1 diamond on the side. So I took it in, and I'm like 17 years old. So 17 or 6, I think I was younger than that, actually. I think I was like 16 and almost 17. Whenever big money hits you, you don't know what to do with it. So he said, I'll give you $1,500.
Deal.
I was like, give it to me. Well, he was like, he ended up giving me $1,500, and I put it in my pocket. So I made $1,500 plus that, I think it was $400 I had made in bills. And then I had watches that were like watches galore in my truck that I had.
You know, I heard that if you pawn something off and then it's reported as stolen, the people at the pawn shop have to give it back. So that could be like a kind of like a little scheme people might do. Like, hey, I want to sell this. All right, here's some money. Somebody comes in. Somebody stole my ring, whatever. Yeah. They can't. I think they legally have to give it back to you without. You can't buy it. They're like.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's just what I've heard.
But that's how lifeguarding was overall the job itself. The pluses, there's not really many pluses besides meeting new people and getting your tan on. And then also you can get good in shape. You're saving lives. I mean, if you're into saving lives. Saving. Oh. I mean, you could shave, I guess. Yeah. I have seen a woman shave in our pool before whenever I was...
it's these public pools, isn't it?
It's actually the public pool in our hometown.
Oh, yeah.
That pool. So...
Doesn't surprise me.
I can remember an older woman. She was very ugly. That's what I can remember. Big green one piece that had shorts legs on it. And she rolled up her shorts. I swear to everything that I own. She pulls out this little like keychain razor type deal that was connected to her keychain on her keys.
A convenient razor.
And she started shaving her legs right there in the water. And that was the first time I ever seen that. So I said, ma'am, what in the fuck are you doing? She was shaving my legs.
What does it look like?
And so her argument was, is that's a public pool. That's public water. It's not owned. I said, the pool is, though. And the water is actually owned by the city. You can't do that. You can't do it here. There's kids around. She goes, well, how much hair is already in this pool? Who gives a fuck? Who gives a fuck? That's disgusting.
Yeah.
But you see a lot of disgusting things. You see a lot of really disgusting things as a lifeguard. Open wounds, blood, bones, throw up.
Jeez.
You see a lot of sex toys. A lot of condoms. A lot of condoms.
What is going on in these pools?
Everything that you wish didn't happen. A lot of shit, too. Oh, my gosh. I can't see how many times we've had a Code Brown. That's legit the Code Brown.
Code Brown!
So when you say Code Brown, everybody gets out of the pool. By regulation, no one can be in that pool. Now, this is 100% true. No one can be in that pool until all the water is drained completely out, the walls are bleached and scrubbed, and it's filled all the way back up. What we used to do is take the shit out the water and pray to God no one cared. And I was a good lifeguard. I was the one who wanted to do everything by the book because I ended up becoming head lifeguard. I used to be the boss. Before I was the boss, I wanted to do it the right way. When I became the boss, I still want it done the right way. When there's shit in the water, the bosses were like, we'll just look over it. So whenever somebody gets, what's that called when you eat shit or something like that and you get it, like a disease or something? I don't know what it is. But anyway, people would go home with like pink eye. When you become a lifeguard, you realize you don't want to swim in your own water.
Yeah. No, I've never even wanted to swim in that one in town.
Yeah.
I swam with you one day.
I cleaned that myself. That's why I was in it. If I'm in it, I clean it myself.
So, did you have any like specific stories that would happen, or just like
at the pool while lifeguarding?
Yeah, something that's very memorable to you.
I remember one time I worked at this one. It was at a camp, and there was a kid who jumped off the diving board, and he tried to jump, spin, and then land in the water. Well, he jumped and spun, but he didn't go in the water. His face hit the diving board.
Oh, dang.
And the corner of the diving board is still a point. It may be rounded, but it's still a point. And it caught him inside the mouth. So after it caught him in, it ripped all the way up. And all his mouth was hanging open. It's like he had a second mouth right here. I could get his mouth and open it from right here. Like, you know how your gums go all the way back to like there? Like, that's where your mouth stops.
Close to your nose.
I could see all that inside here.
Jeez.
And it even still went up, and I could see all that muscle and bone in there.
I'm assuming he went to the hospital.
Later, he went to the hospital.
Put a first aid kit.
Okay.
Tape it up.
This was
go swimming.
This was the worst day of my life because I didn't know what to do. I'm sorry. This is not the worst day of my life because I had a kid pass away one time. 100%. This was in a river. I was not a lifeguard. I was still a lifeguard somewhere else, but I saw what happened and I jumped in to save the kid. Spinal injury. I couldn't keep myself afloat for 4 hours. I mean, I was sitting there holding his body up, and I had to float down the river, holding him straight so his spine wouldn't move.
What?
And he lived all the way up to the point where he got to the ambulance and he passed away. And I actually went to the emergency room of exhaustion.
How'd you get in the river?
Well, they were jumping off the cliff into the water, and the kid didn't jump far enough and hit his back straight on the cliff, and then went in the water and started floating down. I jump in, race over there, pick him up out of the water, keep his head above water. Now, this water's deep, so I'm having to sit there and kick my feet to keep my head above and his head above. I can't use my arms, so I floated until somebody had to catch me.
You couldn't get out of the river?
I couldn't. It was so hard I couldn't get out, and I finally got to the side. They grabbed him, and I passed out. Went down the river. Somebody had to catch me. I was done. I tore every ligament up trying to keep myself up.
Whoa, how old were you here?
I can't remember exactly. I think I was 18 or 19.
Jeez, man.
But it was rough. But that was one of the worst days. But lifeguarding, while I was lifeguarding, one of the worst things was having that boy's mouth cut open. And the nurse at the time who was there, she did not come into work. The one day the nurse didn't come in, something bad happened.
So did you have to do it?
I had to actually try to find a way to stop the bleeding, and it wouldn't stop. So I had nothing. I had no shirt on either, and everybody's just sitting there and watching, and there's blood spewing like in my face, and I'm holding his face together, and I'm sitting there telling him, "Hey man, everything's all right. It's all right." And I noticed he has like major discoloration on his head, so I'm thinking major concussion or brain damage.
Just for hitting a diving board?
I asked him, I was like, "Do you remember your name?" He's like, "No." I said, calm down. I start talking to him. very easy. Well, he finally starts remembering his name, starts telling me. I said, do you know what today's date is? And he goes, no. He goes, do you know? And I was like, shit, what is today's date? And I'm still holding his face together. And then finally, somebody else, another lifeguard who was asleep in their cabin and was supposed to be there, and they never came until late. And they're like, what's going on? I was like, what do you freaking think? And I have blood everywhere. I have blood dripping off my face because it's spewing.
My dang.
It was a bad day because whenever everything finally started to settle out, it was just chaos. Like, I had to shut the pool down for probably a week because I couldn't clean up all the blood.
You had to go through this by yourself.
I think I was younger than 17.
Bro, it sounds like lifeguarding is like definitely makes you grow up fast.
You have to be ready for what's going to happen. There's a lot of, it's fun. I won't lie, it's fun being a lifeguard, but whenever something happens, you got to be able to put that fun aside and be ready to act.
What I thought of a lifeguard would be is like if something serious, like somebody's drowning, so you would just have to go and get them.
Yeah.
I would have never expected all this crap.
I've had people break their arm. Like, I don't know what it's called. It's whenever it's like I guess a clean break, when it breaks all the way through. I've seen somebody's arm that looks like this, and it breaks right there, and this is hanging off to the side.
Jeez.
I've seen that, and I had to help with that.
That could be kind of scarring sometimes when you think about it.
It's honestly, I mean, there's some days where I'll get on a tangent and I'll start thinking about it, but at the end of the day, you're a hero. At the end of the day, you did what you had to do. Even the day that the kid had passed away, I kept him alive.
Yeah.
Until I couldn't no more, and I still kept him alive until somebody else got him.
See,
I don't know what happened after that point. All I know is that I passed out. I was done. And then the ambulance, whenever it got there, I know that I was in the hospital and that they had told me that he had ended up passing away. But they told me he passed away after he got out of the water.
Being a lifeguard has kind of helped you with that because, you know, if you weren't a lifeguard, or if anybody could swim.
Yeah.
If you learn, but I guess that might have helped us, persevering, because he could have just drowned and then his body could have been gone.
Yeah, and it was rough, and it was a really weird and long process of people coming into my room that I was in, because it took them a while to check me out to make sure I was okay. I had police come in there and like talk to me, and they were never rude. They were very nice people. They were just telling me, like, I'm sorry this happened. It was his mom and dad. He actually went to another hospital than I went to. I don't know why. I think they like flew him somewhere, but I can remember I saw his mom and dad, and they talked to me. And I was young; I didn't know what was going on. They just kind of were just telling me thank you in their own different way.
Yeah, because if you didn't do that, then his body could have like drifted away.
They may have never saw their baby again. And it was a younger kid. He was probably 12, 13.
Jeez, man.
And it was rough, and I still remember it. It's hard to remember it, but I don't dwell on it because I did what I could. I tried.
Right. Yeah,
and
you did your best.
Lifeguarding shouldn't be in 15-year-olds' lives. It shouldn't, like, I shouldn't.
There should be like somebody else, like, even if he's not there, like somewhere on the premises.
Yeah, me being 17 shouldn't have had to go through that.
Because I've heard like some lifeguards, they would not hire you unless if you were 18 or over.
Yeah, that's where I don't understand.
It's got to be like the management wherever you were.
So I don't understand why any of that happened.
See, when I asked, like, when I thought you had memorable ones, I thought it'd be like something funny or something like weird. I didn't think somebody's face would be coming off.
Yeah, we used to. I mean, those are things that I remember. We used to have fun. I mean, we also really abused our job. I told you about Code Browns, right? Well, you also go to the store, and if you buy you a Snickers bar and you put it in the microwave for a little bit and throw it in the water, you get a free day, and you get paid for it, and you get to go home early.
Jeez, dude.
So we used to go microwave Snickers bars and throw it in the pool, and then we get to go home early, and we get paid for it.
I guess if you wanted the day off or something.
Yeah, that's what we used to do. So don't ever do that unless
giving the kids ideas. They're like, oh, so this is what I should do this summer. My little summer job here.
We had one lifeguard. I remember him. He was I don't know if you remember him. I'll remember his name later. He was a twin. And he used to hate working. Hated it because I was the boss. I really didn't care as long as you did your job right. If you want to have fun, have fun. If you want to take your break, fine, whatever. Just make sure somebody's, like, watching over while you're taking a break. Well, he didn't want to work. So he put his hand on the table, and he reached over and grabbed this little, it's like a box cutter, and he slit the top of his hand up. And he said, I'm going home. I said, go home. See you later.
Why don't these people want to work?
And he was getting paid well to be a lifeguard. I mean, I was getting paid really good to be a lifeguard, to do nothing all day.
How much you get paid?
At that point, when I first started being a lifeguard, I was getting paid like $10 an hour. Whenever I started moving up and stuff, like when I moved to the next pool, I was getting paid like $15 an hour. And then when I started doing it by myself and people were buying me, because they asked me personally, could you lifeguard for this party? I get paid like $400, $500 a night.
Gee,
and
bro.
Then it switched to when I started teaching first aid and CPR, it was like $18 an hour.
So you taught first aid?
Yeah, I taught it.
Did you taught like swimming lessons as well?
I used to teach swimming lessons.
All right, this time, kids, you swim this way. Now you put your right arm out.
It was
just crap like that.
It's fun because I love teaching kids how to swim. Like even when if we went to this pool that we're going to tomorrow and I see kids struggling, I'll probably end up being the one to help them learn to swim.
Lifeguard's just gonna be like chilling.
Yeah. Whenever I started teaching first aid and CPR, this is where everybody's like, "Oh, you're making good money." Only during the summer because pools aren't open during the winter. You're not really making good money.
That's true. I mean, it's a good summer job. Yeah. Like if you're in high school, I guess.
Now, when I say $18 an hour, you're not working from 8 to what it is. You're probably working 4 hours. Whenever I was. Now, when I was making $10 an hour, I was working like 8 hours.
Okay.
So you see
how you'd be making more with $10 an hour.
Yeah. Now, I relied mostly on people buying me and saying, "Hey, could you lifeguard this party?"
Okay.
I've had people come up and it broke regulation. I was 45 people per one lifeguard. Okay, that's fine. They don't want to pay for another lifeguard? That's cool. Pay me more. If you can't get another lifeguard, then pay me for double. So I walked home with $800 in one night.
Jeez,
one night
dude.
For 3 hours.
One night.
So that's the life of a lifeguard. Because if you really want to be a lifeguard, don't work for anybody. Get your lifeguard license and get people to buy you out. That's how you make money.
I gotta say, I gotta give like a little shout out to Gray Williams.
Yeah, that was the guy who used to lifeguard with me. He was a great guy.
Yeah, I would love to have him on the podcast, and then y'all could talk because didn't he do lifeguard with you?
Yeah, he was always really fun. He made every day really fun.
Yeah, so being a lifeguard, I'm glad you told me this because now I really don't ever want to be one.
So it's a fun summertime. Have you ever had a summertime job?
No, I don't think so. I think I worked through the summers, but it was like a regular job.
Yeah, because that's a good summertime job if you're young. Now, if you're an adult, get a real job.
Yeah, get a real job.
But you can make good money if you're doing it like on the side. Training people, you get paid money, and you can kind of scam people because I used to scam people all the time training them for lifeguarding.
Jeez, bro, it's like your whole lifeguard like history is just like scamming and.
It is. It's a scam. It's honestly a scam. A lot of it's illegal.
A lot of it's illegal. Well, that's if you make it that way.
You ever had work like whenever me and you used to do the security job like together?
Yeah.
You ever go somewhere and you look at somebody else doing it and you're like, amateur. That's how I am if I go to a pool or like a water park. I look at the other lifeguards and I'm like, pathetic.
Yeah, because like I could do better.
Yeah, because I saw one girl. She was not watching these kids. This one kid had floaties on and kept jumping in the pool and then took his floaties off and jumped in the pool. And I'm like, and the lifeguard's like,
what?
Hey, grab the side. And I'm like, so I walk over there and I grabbed the kid by the arm and I picked him up and put him on the side and I was like, that's how you do it.
Wow.
That just shows. I mean, it's 15-year-old kids. What you can't. That's whenever I'm confused. I can't remember whenever I started growing up or getting in my rebellious phase. It's not like 15 when you start being like bad.
Yeah, it's around that. I mean, I think kids are just always bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, around like 15, high school age, that's when you start being like.
I think I tried to get you to be a lifeguard one time.
I don't even remember, bro.
This is a long time ago.
I think I wanted to be a lifeguard one time, and that's just because the cute girls would be there and stuff.
Oh, I completely forgot. That's how I broke my nose. That's why my nose looks the way it does. I was trying to impress people jumping off the diving board, and I jumped.
Hey, look at me. Oh.
Yeah, I hit my nose on the diving board.
Oh, gosh. At least you didn't have your face like
I know.
that bad.
But it didn't break it bad. It swole up, and it was kind of crooked. I was trying to impress people. I was trying to jump up and do like a cool like swan dive into the water. Well, when you dive, you're supposed to go jump, 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 up, out, and then down. Well, I went jump, 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 up, down. I didn't go out. So I went up, and I had my perfect swan dive, and I went up.
Guys, look at me.
I touched my toes, and then I went down, And that's whenever I think it was like 30 minutes. I was in the air. I was sitting there praying. I was like, God.
30 minutes?
It felt like 30 minutes. I was like, God. I was like, I know I haven't been a good guy.
sorry for
taking
all this money
shit in the water. I'm sorry for looking at that woman's boobs, but I couldn't help it.
Like you just like your life flashes between your eyes.
I can remember seeing the diving board slowly, and I'm like, shit. I was like, and I can remember thinking in my head all the bad things I've done.
He knew.
I fucked up. I can remember whenever it hit me though, it wasn't like bam, and I'm hitting the water. It was like,
yeah.
And then I can remember my whole back just going, like I could feel my whole spine cracking. But in the air, it was the longest time I had to reflect. I still scammed people after that. I still did a lot of bad things after, but
for like a week you were doing.
I was good for like a few weeks. Yeah, about a week or two. I was like, I'm gonna do my job perfectly. And I can't. It was so slow motion. I can remember thinking.
You gave in, man. You gave in.
I can remember thinking, I'm a terrible person. I can remember praying, and I was like, God, let me live through this.
It's only through those moments where something happens, you're like, I'll do better. I'll do better.
Yeah. I can remember talking to God and being like, look, I'm going to hit this diving board dead on. If you could just move me 2 feet.
Yeah.
Because you can do it. You can do it, God. I know you can.
Just push me.
And then I hit the dive board, and I was like, I deserve that. Because I was begging. But I can remember when I got out of the water, it was a guy. I can't remember his name. He looked at me. He's like, man, your face is fucked up. And I was like, what are you talking about? He's like, blow your nose. I was like, okay. And I held this side, and I went, and I couldn't get nothing. And all this was black. All the blood was filling up. And then he was like, here, let me help you. And I blacked out.
So be a lifeguard, don't be a lifeguard. Either way, it sounds fun and also very horrific at the same time, I would say. But so that's been another In Progress podcast. Thank you guys for watching and listening as well. Logo, anything you want to add?
We lost camera too.
Yes.
If you're going to be a lifeguard, don't do it. Follow us. Cool. On anything that we're on.
Anything. Links in the description. I'm too lazy to put it on the screen anymore.
It's right here.
Well, anyway, thank you guys for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Keep progressing.